release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Let's rock!
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, DK?
And me, Van.
Bringing you your weekly or semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Nice to see you. How the hell are you?
Eh.
I was a little concerned that we would not be heard just a moment ago.
All of that stuff's working, I think. I did the silly thing and like decided to try and make improvements. Boy, was that a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. Every time I try and make things better, things ultimately get worse.
Like, let me get just a little bit of Botox. Have just a little bit of lip filler.
Oh, why can't I express myself anymore?
And you just look like you've had an encounter with a bee swarm or something.
Exactly right. Exactly. Hockey JBA123. What's up? Nice to see you. Hope you're well. Maniac, hello, sir. I saw you post something in the Discord server, so I assume that you might have been hanging around. Yeah, the thing that I was trying to ads.
Oh, the ads.
It's not quite September yet, Maniac. So you don't rectify yet. Do it next month. It's cheaper. Lights. Oh, thank you, Prof Dave. Appreciate the sub. Oh, it's Ghost.
Books.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I recognize that name. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. So we I try to section out, just so you know what's going on. I try to section out both of your audio so I could easily adjust the audio levels in OBS to make the quality good, you know what I'm saying? And what I didn't realize is by doing that it actually mutes you on the intro channel, the intro scene. So yeah, sitting there for about 2 minutes just
looking at our faces for
just seeing a lot of this.
Yeah. It's the best. How we feeling this week, boys? Is the post Nats Blues, did it come and go? Did it come at all? Has it gone? What's
Oh, it definitely came.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's completely gone, but yeah, the post Nats Blues are a real thing, especially when like you have to launch right back into work afterward.
That's right.
Like last year we had this whole amazing vacation afterward, and it was very sad to leave that all behind.
Yeah.
As well, obviously, but we still had like a nice kind of come down from the tournament
Yeah.
itself, just going and doing fun stuff at hot springs and luges and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Mud
just having to go back to work.
So
Ugh.
Yeah, as someone who typically always has to immediately go back to work after a tournament, fuck you. Just, throw that out there.
It's your own fault. Take off more time.
Working at
That's-
5 a.m. Yuck. Hate that.
That's
That does
fair.
sound terrible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It kind of hits me like a lot. Last year, like you say, was good because it didn't just end. Like we had another whole week to hang out and kind of get sick of each other. So, you know, like
And just get sick generally.
yeah. But yeah, and even for me last year, you know, like Lucy hang around for another couple months. Disco Stu was here for like another week, I think, after everyone else left. So
He might still be there now. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't made moves to move down here, actually. But if he is looking for a reason to come down here, I might have one for him. But maybe I'll check to see if that's public knowledge before I start talking about it on here. But
Yeah, let's. You have.
I mean,
you have
it is.
a
It's
microphone.
public knowledge.
You have a microphone and a platform. Giving you non-public knowledge is not always the greatest thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Rusty. So yeah, we've been talking post Nats for a couple of weeks now, but we haven't really dug into what the tournament was like for you guys. We kind of covered, all of the results. We had an awesome chat with Mischief last week, which was really dope. But yeah, we need to hear like tales from Nats, from you guys. But I guess we could kind of jump into that today. Before we do, boys, but
Yes.
oh, I forgot that was a thing. Cash, and did you guys see
Oh,
that?
I
Yep.
did. I just looked over. Yeah, my goodness.
Thanks for those bits, guys. Appreciate you. I
Oh,
forgot
that
it.
cash! I had a sudden desire to take off my shirt. I don't know why.
Yeah. You guys know that that this guy is quite fond of secondhand shopping.
Stephen went to the dump shop.
Sure did.
Yeah.
I bought an e-bike this week from the dump shop. Among other things, I found an old school PlayStation and I found a Wii U. Everything seems to be going, and I also bought an e-bike. And
Tight.
only cost me $20.
Okay, so the PlayStation and the Wii U, I understand because you're you.
Yeah.
Why the e-bike?
Hey, he's trying to be healthy. Leave him alone.
Yeah. I've wanted an e-bike for a while, but the one that I want is the one that looks like a chopper, like a e-bike chopper. Because like riding around on one of those, it's all I'd love to do that.
Makes your arms tired.
That's right. But this one is it's got like big fat wheels and looks really awesome, but I don't think it goes. But for $20 you got to take a punt.
I mean, you don't have to.
You don't think
chose
it
to.
goes?
Yeah. I haven't properly tried to charge it yet, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. To
Like you could still pedal it theoretically, right?
Oh yeah, you can, but because it's
Okay.
got the big fat tires, it's real heavy. So actually riding it is harder than riding a normal bike if you don't have like a battery pack that works.
Steve-O. I love you, bro, but
I don't have a
I
problem.
got this bicycle to ride. The only thing about it is you can't really ride it.
But if I can get it going, those things sell like they're like $2.5 grand new. So for $20, gotta take a punt.
Decent.
Gotta take a punt.
For sure.
It's
so funny too because when I'm I see e-bikes like on the main road and stuff, I'm like, hey,
Yep.
Good on you. That's awesome that you're commuting to work and you're doing something that puts out less emissions and is overall less hazardous pedestrian and stuff. Then when I'm out on the bike trail, I see people on an e-bike. I'm like, I want to fucking kick you. You need like you're just whizzing past me. Everybody else is like pedaling as hard as they can up the hill. You're just like, whee!
Yeah.
Go back to the road.
Old people are like, this is easy.
So I waver back and forth between like, hey, good on you, and get the fuck out of here when I see e-bikes.
It's all very situationally dependent
Exactly.
on where you are in that moment. Yeah.
I'm gonna use it to go like get my groceries and stuff instead of driving my car down to our local village. I'm gonna take the bike, and hopefully I don't get hit by traffic. That's the goal, not to get hit
Ideally.
by traffic. Yeah.
Ideally.
Thanks for stopping in, Lucy. Nice to see you. Hopefully the crew is having a good day. We got sent a photo earlier. Lucy is out with the Brisbane crew, and it blows my mind still because the photo was like just a blend of worlds.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're hiking through the Blue Mountains, I think, or Tambourine. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Ngunngoon
Mount Tambourine.
Mountains? Maybe not Mount
Tambourine?
Tambourine. I don't know.
No.
Somewhere they're out in nature.
Sounds
in
cool.
Brisbane. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Oh, Ngunngoon, the Ngunngoon Mountains. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. That's enough about what I purchased from the dump shop this week. Yeah. Do you guys want to fill me in? How was Nats, boys? How was it?
I mean, over and above like everything that we've like covered from like an informational perspective the last couple of weeks, and and some of the stories that we told last week. Yeah, it was definitely a nationals filled with the usual amount of shenanigans that you would expect, and funny in-game moments, because I mean, let's face it, the game we play does lend itself every so often to really dumb and funny shit happening.
Real
Oh,
quick,
yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but yes, happy birthday to you, Lucy. Lucy's birthday today, so happy birthday to you. Hope
Nice.
it's bloody fun.
Happy birthday, Lucy.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
You're not sorry. It's okay. I don't know. I think probably the capper, or the for the week for just like dumb shit in game. Oops, I guess it would help if I told my Discord, hey, I'm streaming, so stop making noise.
Bloop.
Maybe it's possible. Was interaction between the 2/3 of this podcast that were physically at Nats. Um,
Who, me? Who? What?
yeah, so I don't even remember the game that we're in. I just know that we're resupplying on the red side of the map. So
What game was it?
so Applesauce and I are in Fortress, throwing out our resupplies to people, and Mr. DK here, all big badass scout, is in big box getting his resupplies, and we're giving him stuff, and he's got somebody kind of frozen with looks while Dill is in there also, and he's getting his resupplies. And it's the usual amount of loud in game, because we're actually talking. It's weird how that happens.
Thank you.
And in amidst the sequence of resupplies, DK starts yelling at me to give him his goddamn resupply. Now, this would normally be fine. Like, sure, sometimes I need to be yelled at. Sometimes my attention span, not always the best. The problem was that he had been resupplied literally 2 seconds before he yelled back at the resupply to get resupplied. He's like, Dan, resupply me. You've been resupplied. And he stopped, and he looked at the back of his gun.
Look at my gun.
And it literally says,
Old man Thanatos shot resupplies you.
and just the pause, and the so you did.
Like, oh, okay, thanks.
Appreciate you.
So yeah, he was getting his,
from my point of view, yes, it was a very stupid thing to do. Like, from what I remember, I don't remember who we were playing, but I remember it must have been somebody that, like, one of our more competitive games. So maybe we were playing against Love Under Cedar, or maybe Loveland B. But it was like a serious game, and I was trying to time this thing very carefully. And I was trying to tell Dill that there had been another scout that I flushed out from Baja who was going back toward the closet where Dill was just doing work. And since I had just gotten shots previously, I wanted to make sure that Dill knew that there was a scout potentially going to come up before me and didn't get shot in the back or something. So I was trying to time this very carefully, and I wanted to make sure that I got shots before anything else happened. And then, yeah, I apparently was just yelling that to Dill so loud that I didn't hear my vest get shot resupplied. And so I was like, oh, what a pleasant surprise. I have shots.
Huzzah.
I mean, that was pretty much matched by only the story that you told last week with you ping-ponging Luke and Josiah at the start of that game. And I got like a shot boost like 70 seconds into the game. And I was like, is that a glitch? What just happened? Like, why did I get shots all of a sudden? I actually thought that the fan hit me the first time. And I was like, oh, the fan must needed a reset. I'm like, no, I'm active. I just got a power boost. Nope.
Hey, really quickly, too, could you confirm if you can hear a double up on the audio from the boys? Just let me know in chat, and I'll see if I can fix that. Again, try to make things better. Has not worked out well for me.
Well, you can try to make things better. It's just we maybe need to test them more than 30 seconds before we go live.
Yeah. No double audio. Oh, that's good. I can see the that's weird. I can see like you can hear my beard. Is it saying kill me? Yeah.
Maybe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us. Like I can see multiple things down the bottom, like the levels are bouncing when you guys are talking. I'm like, oh, what is that double? I'll go back in the store later. It's alright.
Too many lights, very distracting to Steve.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. We hit a hype train too, so level 1 hype train. So I'm like watching everything. I'm just watching. There's so many things bouncing around.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so having DK yell at me to get resupplied when he'd already been resupplied, and then just the complete look and tone of contrition when he realized just how wrong he was in that moment, and both of us just started laughing at that point, because I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, it was just one of those completely dumb moments of. Yep.
Did you say it mad as well? Like, were you like, give me a resupply?
He was
a little intense.
Well, okay, mad. Yeah, mad might be overstating it. Intense is definitely more accurate. But like, it's not like he and I haven't yelled at each other like that in game for longer than
20 years.
Yeah. So it's a tone that we're both familiar with from each other, and just in this particular case, there was no reason for it.
Hey, chill out, man. Why don't you chill out?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Did you guys didn't resupply at all together during the tournament, did you?
Nope.
No, we did not, because Applesauce and I never moved off of resupply, because it just.
Did we change positions at all? Any game of the tournament? I don't think we did.
No, we had our lineup, we stuck to it, and it was. I mean, it was a lineup that was working. It was communication that was working, and given the limited amount of time that we had to play together, just in general, we didn't have the Loveland luxury of 8 months to practice different lineups, weekly.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Yeah, I think we're the only team that didn't change roles at all, because I know everybody else swapped at least 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, it did seem that, like, because I think maybe Luke had said it, or someone had said on a previous show that, like, they're willing to kind of try the lineups and stuff and like see which combos kind of work out best. But the old school way of like kind of playing is, if you know what your roles are, like that's you for the tournament. You're playing that and nothing else. Which I like that way of playing. I guess it's only a real issue when you have either multiple people that are like specialist commanders, or more so when you have people who aren't specialized resupplies, because then they're like, oh, just give me a game that I can go out and shoot people. But I think, like, for the most part, people who play that specialized resup role want to get a groove and stay in that groove the whole tournament.
I really thought going into the tournament last year, since I had never mained as a medic, I'm just like, I'll probably get bored at some point during the week. So maybe if we play one of the lower tier teams, I'll ask to like be moved out. But once we actually started playing, I'm just like, I'm in the zone. I'm focused. I know what my role is. I don't want to like break that and potentially then fuck up my whole medic rhythm the next time that I go in.
If you're feeling that way as well, you don't want to. You would assume that the other people on your team are kind of in that same mindset as well. Like, oh, hey, I want to have a game at Commander. And they're like, okay, fine. And so they've got to change their mindset completely and then go back out and do it. So, yeah. I like that way of position choosing. You don't think Cedar or Fanal change their lineups, but you could be wrong. I thought Fanal did. I thought
they definitely swapped at least Strikva and White Ninja a couple of games.
Yeah.
And Cedar, I think only did in that game they played against Syracuse, where they picked each other's lineups for the opposing team.
Yeah.
But I do remember them changing for that specifically.
Yeah.
And it might have been one other one, because I know there was no. There was a game where Meds played heavy, so I think that was probably it.
Mm.
So I know they had that one.
Yeah,
So,
but
maybe that doesn't really count, but yeah.
Yeah, it counts. It does is it messes up my stats because, the stats graphics because I'm trying to do like lineups. Oh, look at their heavy stats, and they don't truly line up. You guys were the only team that had like pure
Proper
position stats. That's one thing I want to change for next year. I think the way that we kind of approach that. But we live and we learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to bring that up later anyway, but we'll come back to that.
We'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Yeah. I mean, since we're already on the DK's a fucking idiot train, I'll just go ahead and go with the next story because, as I said, was very proud that I won All-Star Scout and stuff like that, but I definitely had a few plays that were not All-Star caliber. So one of the games, I go downstairs to go attack the enemy, whoever we flushed downstairs. Once again, I don't remember who we were playing because that's not the relevant part of the game. But I hear from Nolan that there was somebody over by Red Cave, and I'm coming to the bottom of Red Ramp. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to come around and shoot them. So I see lights come around the corner. I fire without thinking. It's not even the right color. It's somebody on my team. And not only is it somebody on my team, it's Applesauce. It's my medic. So I felt horrible. I'm just like, oh my God, I shot my own medic. It's like the stupidest, lowest value play in the game. So I could have and should have done something like say, man, that was really stupid. Or I'm really sorry, Erwin. It won't happen again. I won't shoot you. But being the very gallant and selfless person that I am, I instead decided to yell, "Why are you down here?" After blaming my medic for me shooting her. Because if you shoot your medic, you should always blame the victim in that case. So she'd come down to get her bases or something. But if there's people to be shot, especially if they're down, Applesauce is definitely going to shoot them. So yeah, then I instead just get mad at her instead of apologizing that I was supposed to do. I apologized after the game, of course, because it was utterly ridiculous, but not exactly my finest moment. Not only to make a stupid play, but then to blame the other person for me.
Classic victim blaming.
But what made it better is after I'm relating the story, the rest of the team were having another good laugh about it. Applesauce and myself. Konama was like, oh yeah, I was like I was on second floor and I heard that and it came out so aggro. I was like, oh my God, what happened down there? Who was DK yelling? I was yelling at my own medic. It was the most aggro thing I said all week, and it was to my own team.
I wasn't aware that was a special ability for the scout, is the old gaslighting. There you go.
It is though. Yeah. I mean, part of playing scout, it's the psychological warfare. So you got to throw some of that out there. It's better if you direct it at the other team, but it's better to keep your own team guessing. You let the enemy team see, it's like, oh man, if he'll do that to his own team, imagine what he's going to do to us.
He's in his head. What's up, Doug? It's nice to see you, bro. What are you, Mike? It's awesome. Getting context for the why are you down here after the fact was very funny. That's so good. You know what, though? It could be worse. You could have asked for a gun and had your medic stick his or her phaser over a wall for you to
In that case, he was literally asking for it. Applesauce did nothing wrong in that scenario. Yes, that's right. I said Fan was asking for
it. Yeah.
I caught that. Yeah.
More victim blaming.
No, there's no victim blaming there. I was deliberately I deliberately knew how many lives I had. It was like, yeah, okay.
I think you're the victim in that case, Steve, because you lost an MVP for that. Oh! Is that worth a one reset? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Jerk. I don't think I shot you though. I was going to.
You realized
you had the presence of mind to know that shooting your own medic is a dumb, boneheaded thing to do. It's not the kind of thing you should do during a game.
We had socials on Tuesday this week. Unfortunately, my back has gone back to spasms. I noticed
you didn't play.
Yeah, my back is fucked again, which sucks. But we had one of our newer players missile his own medic. That was amusing. Brilliant. We had that at Nats, I think. I think Professor Trev missiled our own medic during a Nats game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I do seem to remember that happening.
Yeah.
Or hearing about that after the fact. So, yeah.
And that's like literally a rookie mistake. So whoever it was, have him watch this VOD and be like, this idiot who's been playing for 25 odd years just
Still doing that
nailed
shit.
pathetic for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Well, you know, let's go on record and say it's not you, it's him, Applesauce. Definitely not a fault.
Sauce knows. Like I said, the team meeting that we had back at the house after the night was done, and we covered off what had happened for everybody. Yeah, it was definitely a team wide first. What the fuck? And then just gales of laughter.
We had a pretty good laugh about it.
It was pretty ridiculous.
That's so funny. Suck it, suck it, DK. What else you got for me? Give me all them tasty Nat stories.
So, and what's the next one for you?
I'm trying to think like the you know, I mean, I told my favorite one last week, but I guess, you know, not everybody listens every week, even though they should. Yeah, our game against Loveland, and you know, and having Luke and Josiah as 3 hits, both push in, both end up down, and letting me basically fill an entire screen of me shooting both of them was just, again,
because they were on opposite ends of Fortress, right? Like Luke was in the third floor hallway, and Josiah was like coming up the red ramp, right? Or was it the other way around?
No, Luke had gotten himself into Fortress down, and Josiah was back at one of the walls going back towards chamber, but couldn't go back fully into chamber because Kodama was in there just wrecking face. So if he'd gone, he would just given Kodama another reset. So that they were, you know, both just at that moment not in a good place. And yeah, the like I said last week, the only really hard thing was in the initial figuring out which one I could hit first, because I couldn't remember which one had gone down first. But the second I found that timing, I was like, yeah, I was like, put them both down. And yeah, the look on Luke's face when he realized what was happening was definitely one of my favorite moments of the entire tournament, because it was just this face fall of, oh fuck, he's really doing this to me.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. And then having a boost then, like, literally not more than like 75 seconds into the game was a nice bonus. You know, it's nice when I can give my teammates, you know, more things to go kill people for longer without having to come back that early. I mean, talk about winning the resource war.
Yeah. Was that the game?
So,
was that in the finals? Did that happen?
Yeah.
I think that was the game that we won against them.
That was the game that we tried to give away.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other discussion that I'm sure at some point we'll have to do a rewatch of that game and just see where it went from being like, yeah, we should have this game in like 7.5 minutes to why did this game take 13.5 minutes? The answer is because Loveland played a really fucking great recovery and all that. So
yeah, like I said, from my perspective of that game, I didn't necessarily feel like, I felt that we were doing well, but I didn't feel like, oh yeah, we're in total control, we're just going to finish this thing off in 7.5 minutes. So that might have been more obvious from the score screen watching it, but at least from my own point of view in the game, it didn't really feel that way, because even when they got kicked downstairs, they were still definitely a threat, because they're still always sending up at least 1 or 2 people to pester people upstairs, so you never feel like you have total field control against them.
Speaking of replays, I guess, or rewatches, I'd like to give a quick special shout out to Sergeant Tucker. Tucker went through all of the YouTube videos and time-stamped all the different games, which
very nice.
Allowed me to easily go on and add chapters. So if you want to go through and check out the games, go to Laserforce Tournaments on YouTube, that link there. And it'll actually, you can, you know, use the chapters function to skip through to specific games. making rewatching a whole lot easier if you're trying to track down specific games. So thank you.
That is, yeah, that is, yeah, as Tu just said, Tucker MVP. Yeah, because that is anything that involves a rewatch to get specific information is definitely can be a grind. So for him to have gone through and done that to make everybody else's life easier, real fucking cool.
Yeah,
especially since on the super long videos, it's like you have to be so exact with the scroller bar.
Well,
It's
yeah.
like,
because they're like, one of them I think is like 12 hours long almost. The
something
finals.
like that,
Yeah. Not that you're sitting there for that long watching all of the replays, but still, it's it takes time. So I appreciate you, bro.
I did watch the entirety of the VODs he did, but a good chunk of that was like while I was working, and it was on in the background, and I was listening to it. But it was cool to listen to your commentary and Josh's commentary and the interviews and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
At the week, nice just to kind of like surround myself with that. It was, I think maybe that it both partly alleviated, but also exacerbated the kind of post-tournament blues type thing going on. Because it's the same thing like every year. I always tell myself going in, like, just try to live in the moment. Just really savor it while you're there, because this only comes around once a year. This is a whole year of build up to this, and you look forward to it the entire time. Yep. And every year, it seems to go by like that. But it's so hard when you're there because you're just thinking about 200 things and thinking about your next game, just trying to get through that. And when's the next dinner break? And I haven't had enough sleep in the last 5 days, and I just want to go to bed. It's like, I want so hard to just kind of like be present and in the moment and like really appreciate it as it's happening, especially the really high quality games, because you just don't get those all the time. Like people have some memorable games at Mega Members Nights or whatever, but there's nothing like a game, especially like a finals game, that's really good and challenging and satisfying. Just that's ultimately like what you aspire to in terms of competition.
Like I still have like vivid memories of specific games across the years. Like last year was for me was like the semis against USA East. The finals in Ballarat really stand out. The finals 100%. The finals in Auckland really stand out, and it was these games, like, it's not necessarily the ones that you win, but there's certain moments that will just kind of stick out. But I did actually have
although it's sometimes the ones that you win that stick out.
It's usually the case.
They all say there are two great thrills in competition. One is winning and the other is losing.
But I got to kind of feel that vicariously through you guys this year, because like in the commentary I was feeding off of chat, and chat was really getting in behind it as well. It's a shame that I couldn't figure out a way to kind of capture chat's thoughts throughout the entire tournament as well, because we just were so hard up for real estate on the screen. But
for sure.
You get the kind of gist of it, and chat were awesome this year. They hung around for, a lot of people hung around for almost the entire session. So it was,
well, when there's a lot of engagement and there's actual interesting content beyond just the score screen scrolling, like, it's better at keeping people's attention. For sure. So I mean, I think that's at least one thing that we've learned, is that if we are going to make more of an effort to break Laserforce into a kind of a sports media of some kind, that kind of commentary and viewer engagement is going to be critical to making it a watchable product.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on an upcoming podcast, kind of ways that we can address that for next year. I don't want to like,
as we continue to milk Nat's content.
So in case anyone missed it, Nat states have been confirmed for next year. We'll sort of start building a little bit of hype, but I don't want to move on from 2024 for a little while, because I think there's a lot of stuff that happened this year that was really awesome, and some that was not so awesome that might be talking about. But it's worth, like you said, like, milking it. but not from a selfish perspective, like, oh, we got nothing else to talk about. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but also because like, I think we can kind of use the information there
to make next year better.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, what else you got for us?
Your turn, DK.
Well, let me rattle off 2 real quick. So I'll do one more, me being stupid, and then I'll actually talk about something good that happened in a game. So another one. This was when we were playing Loveland Day. I think it was that same game, actually, that we won. I remember on one of Dill's nukes, I was in closet and I was going to run up to chamber to break in there and try to break their backline of defense when Dill's nuke went off. Josiah, I think, had just been resupplied, so he was able to preemptively set a trail on me. So I knew, I'm like, well, that sucks. I'm not going to be able to break him out of there because he's too far ahead of me at that point. But I can at least go in and tag everybody else. So I did. Nuke drops. I run in. I tag everybody else. I make it very clear to the refs. I'm like, I'm not targeting Josiah. I know he backtracked. So I hit them all, and then I book it back down the green ramp because I'm like, well, I don't want Josiah to shoot me because he's got 2 seconds of safe time. He might even get a missile off in that kind of time. So I run back to closet as fast as I can. I get put down, I think, pretty close to the bottom of the ramp. So I just duck into closet. They immediately throw a counter nuke. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling Odin, who was the ref at closet, I'm like, I never came up after. So when the nuke goes off, like, I'm still going to have a trail, stuff like that. And then didn't think anything of it until after the game. Odin goes up to me and was like, DK, by the way, you had no trail there. You didn't get put back down until you were right outside of closet. And I was like, what are you talking about? I ran to chamber, then I ran all the way back to closet. He's like, yeah, I know you did, but you were up for like 95% of that. I'm like, oh yeah, huh? Because I remember I had to get out before Josiah came up because I was already up because I otherwise having to shoot other people. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
This is why you never yell at the referees' kids for either a call or a no call, because you don't know what happened. Yeah. You're in the heat of the moment. Yeah. And I've seen it happen before because I was the person doing it. So whatever. That's amazing.
Yes, it was very close to the time when Spoonman ran away from Disco Stu activated at the end of the game in 2011, and then Stu came up and shot him, and Spoonie almost had a meltdown in front of the refs. But then he caught himself. But yeah.
Good. Yeah, nothing like, having a hissy fit and being the one in the wrong.
Oh, wait a minute. I was up.
Yeah, and that was literally the comment. Like I remember him like starting to like just rant, and he got like, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds into the rant.
That wasn't very far.
It was not. Yeah, it was not very far at all. Gets 2 or 3 seconds into the rant, and then he stops and goes, dude, he's just like, I was up. Never mind.
Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. That was pretty much what happened there.
Okay, so that was the bad story. Good story on the other hand. So this was the second game of our match against Cedar City in the first time that we played them in the finals. So the match that we won. So we'd won the first game by a pretty considerable margin. I was like, 18 or 19K? Maybe even more than that. It was a pretty sizable victory. So priority going into game 2 was to make sure that we saved the match. So we're going to make sure that we get our bases. We're going to play maybe a hair more defensively. Like, we're still going to play a pretty aggressive style because that's how you play in Loveland. But it's like, if anything goes wrong, let's regroup downstairs, make sure we get our bases, because we had denied them I think 4 or 5K in bases or something in the game before. So it's like, if we get all our bases, there's a very small chance that we're going to lose the match. So let's make sure we do that. So we played a pretty complete game, but they definitely had the upper hand on us for a pretty sizable part of the end game. And they had numbers on us. So I know basically everybody on our team had been eliminated. It was down to me and Dill. So I go down the green ramp, all the way to the bottom, down your pencil, basically where the green starting area is. And Dill's kind of also wandering around that same area. So I'm like, let me just kind of track where he's going, and I'll set a second angle on him. So that way nobody sneaks up behind him. And then I can call him over if someone gets past me and we get a reset. So we can at least have some kind of semblance of a defense there that's happening. But I knew that they still had at least 3, if not 4 players who were still actively hunting us. But I think Dill managed to get out either Caleb or Snuffles, one of them. And then I see Metalface comes down that same ramp. Dill shoots him. He doesn't see me, so I'm able to creep around the other side and get a reset on him, and I hear his pack get killed out of the game. So I'm like, cool, scratch one. There goes Metalface. Chaser comes down to get us, and I had put down Thunder, and then I put down Chaser. I get a reset on Thunder. For whatever reason, Chaser must have thought I left. He comes back around the corner, and I shoot him down again, kill him out of the game. So I'm just like, yes, scratch 2. We got 2 of them out now. But Thunder still won around. This was the same time that Dill got that penalty, and then he went back upstairs, but with full hit points. But I know that Dill is still left, and as far as I can tell, Thunder and I are the only ones who are still left in there. So I don't want him to go anywhere other than pay attention to me. So I literally just sat there, and Tucker had a good laugh at this because he was the ref who was watching it. Because I was just like, Thunder, shall we die together in honorable combat? And Thunder basically says, no, I hope not. So he was denying me my cinematic speech, but we dueled there for, I think, about the next 30 to 35 seconds, which I knew we were in the last minute. I ended up getting killed out of the game. I thought that maybe there was a chance that I would be able to outrun the clock, but A, I didn't know if there was anybody besides Thunder who was still in, and B, I knew Dill was still in, so I'm like, let me just make sure that somebody on our team lives, and we're probably going to take the match anyway. Like, I probably would not have made this move if I knew we needed to survive to win the match. I would have run away from Thunder, would have gone to do something else. But, like, just kind of trying to delay Thunder as long as possible, and then I come out and see that Dill survived with 1 life, and I was so happy. I was like, yay, it worked, and we ended up winning that match 6-0. But then going back and like watching the VOD for it, I was like, this will be cool because I had like this valiant last stand, and I killed like 3 people out of the game, and it was so epic. I can't wait to hear what Steve and Josh are going to talk about it. And all anybody talked about was the penalty on Dill and being like, oh, he got a shield reset. I wonder, is that an interesting strategy? What I was like, oh my god, you guys are talking about whether or not Dill was trying to like milk the rules when there was absolutely 0% chance that was happening. I was like, I had my best moment of the tournament, and nobody said anything about it.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that. I think we continue to talk about that even after
like
the
next
game.
10 minutes of the stream.
Yeah, really fishing for content.
Make more lights go boom.
Oh, Rami, thank you very much for the follow, mate. Appreciate you. Trishigan, Rami Trishigan. I assume you're from Michigan. Rami Trishigan from Michigan. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate you. Yeah, I remember. I remember like talking about that, and we'd kind of. I can't even remember who started that off. It might have been Josh actually. But somebody was like, "Oh,
I
do you
think
think
it was Leech made some kind of comment in the chat about it, and then you kind of riffed off of that. But yeah, you two talked about it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, would shut up about it.
Well, to be fair, such an unusual thing. Like, I don't think it. I can't recall something like that having ever happened before.
Yeah, because it was like nothing that we'd ever kind of seen.
Yeah, it's such an edge case.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I guess
okay.
DK did awesome. Whatever.
I mean, as it turned out, I don't think it mattered because I don't think Dill got shot again the rest of that game. But yeah, he went from being, I think, on 1 life, 1 hit point to 1 life, 3 hit points.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, all right, cool. It was such an interesting edge case that, like, yeah,
we'll probably never see it happen again.
Yeah,
like,
there was no way that anyone can do that purposefully either. Like, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
At
least not in a way that I feel like would not be super obvious to the refs.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're getting back into the weeds and talking about it instead of this awesome game that
I completely glossed over your story and started talking about that again. That's funny.
Yeah. So I got really mad the first time I watched the VOD after. I'm just like, nah, that was an interesting story though. It's like yeah, whatever.
Have you gone back to see like a bunch of your guys' games? Like,
I paid much more attention to those specifically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always gonna happen, right? Like, you are more interested in like what you and your team have been up to versus like everyone else.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Literally, the only thing I've gone back and watched was my awesome fucking over of Luke and Saya.
I bet they didn't even talk about it on stream either.
Well, yeah, we would have had cameras too. Did the camera show it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember going back and watching it.
The cameras caught like a decent. You can't really see me because of where I'm standing, but you can see Luke, and
You can see the lights like flashing on either
Yeah.
side.
So yeah, so there was a comment about basically like, wow, that's a hell of a run that Fan's on. Like the entire left side of the screen is nothing but him.
Yeah. We did bring it up a couple times. We did sing your praises a few times during the week, going, "Oh, he's turning back the clock," etc.
You're like, well, veteran move there.
Yeah.
Veteran move by Fan.
Yeah. Again, watching Luke's face just fall was the highlight of that whole sequence. I'm gonna be dining out on that like forever. I think that literally might be the coolest thing I've ever done in a tournament game ever. Like
Clockatoos.
I would say probably you
Clockatoos.
and Steve mounting the game 4 defense in Ballarat, where you're constantly resetting his shield, was maybe the
No.
biggest thing you ever done.
No. This was way
This is
cooler.
more amusing for sure.
This was way cooler. 2008, when I just was resetting Steve-O's shield, was it was cool, it was fine, but as Steve-O will tell you, I wouldn't shut the fuck up for him to be able to concentrate on what was happening. So that wasn't quite as cool because I wasn't doing my job perfectly in that moment.
Yeah.
You gotta shut up once in a while, otherwise you'll never know that you got shots.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a type of bird you were talking about too, a special type of Australian bird, clockatoos. Yeah, I got confused. I was confused.
Doesn't take much.
No, it doesn't. Just the shiny thing. Yeah. All right. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
So a fan can add on to this one also, because the Airbnb that we stayed in this year was, let's
Weird.
say, unique,
Weird,
eclectic, a little unusual, because it was literally like a Frankenhouse. It was a small house that had a much larger add-on that was grafted onto it, and you could tell exactly where the old house ended and the new house began.
Wasn't the Brisbane house in Detroit kind of like that? Like weirdly.
I never saw it.
Oh,
I never
okay.
saw it.
Was it haunted?
It may or may not have been haunted, but there were just these various little things that we couldn't quite figure out. So, a couple little quirks. One was that all the cabinetry in the kitchen all had like horizontal handles on it, which you don't think about. Like you pull out a drawer, okay, whatever. You reach down and pull out a drawer like that. That's fine. When you go to like open a cabinet or something above you, I think people would much more like go like that. So you'd want like a vertical facing handle. But instead you're like reaching above and then still kind of like gripping it and pulling it that way. It felt very unnatural. Like why are all the handles horizontal? So that was one thing. They had in the kitchen. So they had an island in their kitchen, not unusual.
Yeah.
They had a stove in the island, which is a little unusual. Usually you would think that would be on the edge because you'd want the gas lines.
Yeah, it was
stuff going to it or the electricity going to it. But yeah, it was in the island, and it didn't have like a vent or anything above the range.
Yeah.
So a couple of days, like Kodama would be like making bacon and stuff, and there would just be like steam everywhere. There was fat, like that spit all over like the interior central part of the kitchen. I'm just like, this doesn't feel like it was very well designed. In my bathroom, so there was the faucet there, so it had hot and cold handles on either side that were in a little like a little cross pattern, but they turned opposite directions from one another. Like you had to turn the cold like anti-clockwise to turn on. You had to turn the hot clockwise to turn it on. So it was like you couldn't remember, and then you was one like, wait, did I just turn one on and the other one's on? Nope, I just turned the second one on. Now I have to turn this one off. I have to turn this one off in opposite directions. So we started making this catalog of things for like, it seems like this house was like designed by AI. Like it's mostly like a house, but the details are just like a little bit off. But you just like look at these images, like, why does that person have 6 fingers? Or what's going on? Or there's like a third eye that's on the side of someone's face. It was very like I wanted to take more pictures of it, but I didn't want to like share those to the group broadly because it is somebody's house. And so, I don't want to like accidentally dox anyone, but it wasn't like harmful. It was just like bizarre that I'm just like, this feels very like DIY, very just kind of like glued together.
It sounds, because some of that stuff is relatively common down here, like the horizontal handles on the cabinets. That's a thing that happens down here. I think the old school kind of cross knobs turning different ways. That's something that happens down here as well. So
maybe they were just New Zealand contractors. I don't know then.
Yeah. Nah, it's all good. Should we put the oven here? Okay. Should we put in a range hood? Nah. Okay.
Nah.
Nah, bro.
Nah, bro.
We don't need it.
Don't worry. No one's cooking bacon in here.
Except us. Yeah, no, it was just very weird Frankenhouse, because the original house was definitely small. It was very small, like house that was probably built in like the 40s or 50s. Like it was small old house, whatever. And then here's like this modern edition where just like it made sense, but it didn't make sense. If it was just like, wait, what? They did this? They did that? What?
Yeah, the bedroom that I had was essentially the entryway of the old house.
Yep.
So there was just like a random door that was there that basically wasn't in operation. But it was at the far end of the house, so like the air conditioning was dog shit in that room because the AC was all the way on the other end of the new house, and just not that much air makes it all the way down to the other end of the house.
Oh, that's right. It's the middle of summer there for you guys.
Yeah. And we're about 2 blocks from the train tracks, which became very apparent a couple of times about 4:30 in the morning. I'm just like finally coming down after a night of tag. We get back to the house. It's like 2:30 a.m. We have to talk for about an hour because, you're still kind of coming down from that, take a shower, take your weed, whatnot, get into bed, finally trying to like go to sleep. Like, okay, I can finally relax. Just go ahead and shut my eyes. Like, oh, fucking killing me here.
You see, that didn't bother me because where I live is not that far from train tracks, so I'm used to hearing that. And the last place that I lived in Texas was literally like less than half a mile away from a full train yard. So for me, like I'm used to those sounds. So
some soothing train sounds, like go to sleep.
Yeah, they don't even faze me as far as that goes.
That's so funny.
So yeah, the rest of y'all were fucked, but me, I'm just like thud, sleep, whatever, don't care. It was nice of it to rain the last like couple days that we were there and take it from the mid 90s down into like the 60s, and suddenly it's like, yes, it's cool. But
they've just had like a week or 2 weeks of like 30-degree plus weather in Brisbane, and we're in winter. Yeah,
I saw that. I saw a Traj post about that, and I just kind of went, they did what?
Yeah.
You guys better not bring that shit around next year. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to enjoy that Queensland winter where it's like you can just walk around in your shorts all the time.
It's the only time I love Brisbane. Well, not the only time, but it's my
most of the time I've ever been there has always been in the winter. So.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. It's like San Diego. This is amazing.
It's delightful. It's so nice. Yeah, right on. So, Kooky Airbnb. Who stayed with you guys in Airbnb? Was it your whole team or just you two?
Team.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was nice to just have a team space where we could just go back to after a day and discuss things and not have to be too pressed about anything. So but yeah, like I think the general consensus was, did it work for what we needed it to? Absolutely. Would any of us voluntarily stay there again? Fuck no.
I don't think so. It's definitely not. Even in the city of Loveland, it's not nearly the nicest Airbnb I've stayed in. But it was interesting.
That's funny. Right on. What other kooky shit did you guys get up to?
I noticed this more on the VOD, but there were some real kooky IR reflex that led, and I know at least one occasion that involved you trying to reset off somebody on the team who was up, and you accidentally shot everyone who was down, and you weren't shooting anywhere close to her, but I saw it on the score screen. It was like, Zap's
Was it in
applesauce.
Fortress?
It was no, it was not even in chamber. It was like in the area outside of chamber, and was like shooting somebody going down the hall toward Fortress. Like it's gonna reset off Kodama, who's over here. Applesauce is like way over here, and just goes to reset off Kodama, and it somehow tags her.
We did notice it in those cramped areas.
You were talking about it in cramped areas, I saw for sure, in like Fortress and Chamber, and that's like 95% of the reason why I think Chamber is actually useless as a resupply spot. It's a fallback cubby, but it's not a good spot to resupply at all.
Yeah. Like, so there was a instance in Fortress that basically kicked Detroit while somebody was trying to do a jump shot. I think it was Blackout. I think it was a game that Blackout was playing heavy for them, and he's pogoing up and down, and over that as he does over that wall in Fortress, and he pogoed up, and he was up, he was clear, he took the shot, and it hit their medic. He was down in the bottom corner, which then and when he pogoed up, he missed the shot on the person coming in, got put down, and because suddenly everybody was down now, the medic wasn't up to even try to get picks out, suddenly kicked the whole team because pogo, reflect, down people, splat. And it's like, oh, that's unfortunate. Just right in front of me as I'm reffing. I'm like, okay. Oh, that's yep. Oh, you're fucked.
Bye.
Well, and I had a sequence that I wanted to do very much like Than, where I was just going to keep a 3-hit down indefinitely, because I had a 3-hit trapped in big box, and I had Dill on the red ramp next to me, providing me a nice reset just to keep this 3-hit down. Didn't know until I went back and looked on the VOD. I shot this person once. I reset off of Dill. I go to shoot the person again. I somehow shoot Kodama, who was on the opposite side of the wall, and I had no idea. And I remember in this game, because I was I had this 3-hit there, and then the 3-hit came on and shot me. I'm like, how the fuck did you come on? I just heard 4 separate crunches. Go back and watch the VOD. What did I do? I shot Dill. I shot Kodama. I reset off of Dill. I reset off Kodama. I'm like, I just cost my team 600 points by doing this. I was literally shooting straight into this person, and they were just standing there.
That's so funny.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
worry,
So there was some
enemy player.
absurd IR stuff.
I'm gonna take my entire 3 hits out. Just
it
for
was
you.
it's like I gave your team a free missile by doing this, points wise.
That's really funny. That's also concerning. Do you think that's a symptom of the battery issues?
No, this was earlier on. I think there was just it was just truly bizarre IR stuff. But I will say, because I have stuff kind of then just broken down into overview of the tournament stuff. This was the first time I've really seen Gen 8 vests kind of start to wear down and fuck up.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before in any other time that I've played on the gear.
Older,
Gen 5, 6, that was to be expected.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, they've been on for 10 hours. The batteries are starting to die. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
The software starts getting a little bit weird. Stuff doesn't register the way it should, but I had not seen this happen with Gen 8, and that was a little disappointing, but also just kind of alarming that I didn't think this could happen with Gen 8 gear. It's so perfect otherwise.
There have been some odd things that we've noticed over time with Gen 8. Specifically the weird light glitch that happens with the phaser or the shoulders sometimes. And then the other one is they actually changed the design of the phasers. They took all of the rubber off of the phasers and made it all hard plastic. Because we found that with COVID, sites had to disinfect everything after every game, right?
Right.
And the disinfectants actually really destroyed all of the rubber outer casings.
Oh. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rubber outer casings at Lasers here that have worn down and are now flappy or just not pleasant. So they I think they changed the design of that and made them all hard plastic. Which resolves one issue but then makes them less
causes others, yeah.
Yeah, less bouncy. should that be the thing that happens.
Stupid cat. Sorry.
No, not stupid.
Malcolm's deciding that he wants to play with things that I've got on my desk, and of course it's a glass top desk, so you can hear everything that he does.
Hey, is this annoying? Tick 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 tick. What's up, Odin? Just now got the notification we went live. That sounds like the resupply.
Yep, no problem.
Tech issues.
You missed my story about you informing me that I did not, in fact, have any path on Josiah because I'd only walked about 2 feet since I got put down.
So good. Yeah. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't actually have like all that many because the reality is I was kind of sequestered, kind of away from a lot of the action a lot of the time. My team was keeping me safe and preventing me from having to get overly involved, even though I was overly involved. It was a good week of overall shenanigans.
We had this one thing that happened for us at Nats was like I stepped away and then I made this coffee and then I came back to my desk and that was all.
Riveting.
Yeah.
Riveting stuff, Steve.
Definitely a thing that happened during the week.
Dude, it was so kooky. And this other time, right, I went away and I didn't get coffee, but I got a bag of nuts and then I came back and then I sat down.
And then you put nuts in your mouth.
Yeah, then I put
while
some
on
nuts
stream.
in my mouth. Yeah. But I muted the microphone, so no one could tell.
And a bit of liquid death as well, I take it.
Yeah, wash that down with a nice refreshing can of liquid death. I was at the gas station yesterday, and I seen a guy come out, and he's holding like his lunch, I assume. And one of the things he bought was a can of liquid death, and I was like, I feel I did that.
I think you should definitely take credit for all New Zealand-based liquid death.
100%.
That would be a good idea.
If he lives in my neighborhood, which he clearly does, and he's drinking liquid death, that's me, baby. You're welcome, liquid death. Still waiting on my goodie bag.
Yeah.
Send me some merch or something. I don't know.
Deadbeat ass company.
Yeah.
Now they'll definitely give us stuff. I'll just resort to negging them.
Yeah. Stupid big water. Yeah. Cool. Well, have you got any more shenanigans?
So I don't necessarily have specific stories, but just other kind of like good, bad, interesting stuff. Because you asked just how the tournament was overall. I think the overall sense of just community and camaraderie among people, which is really what has drawn me to these events more in recent years, because some combination of I'm getting a little bit older, so I have a bit more perspective on stuff. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do. Like, I don't have any plans to retire in the near future, but at some point, right,
I think
age is going to catch up. It's going to catch up with me. It always does. Or just, I don't get the chance to really play all that much throughout the year. So it's like, you also have to make as much as you can with the social connections and stuff. And even with the kind of rivalries that happen during the week, like everybody was in pretty good spirits. And I mean, I think the rivalries ultimately are good. You want to have some rivalries. You want to foster that kind of sense of competition. As long as you kind of like keep it in the realm of competition, it doesn't become personal. Like that's where it starts to break down. Because that's like, I think there was a moment in the Auckland tournament and we worked through it. And there was a moment in the tournament this year where we worked through it, where it was like stuff was starting to maybe veer a little bit into the personal. We're like, no, we got to tamp down on that shit right now, so it doesn't like blow up and this get to be a whole thing. Yeah. But having, a healthy rivalry, like, I mean, I think Loveland and Cedar had that. I felt like kind of like me and Kodama had that with the Cedar guys, that it's like, we love you guys, but we want to beat you. We want to win. You want to prove yourself.
Yeah, one of us has
really
to win.
Players.
It might as well be me.
Yeah. And I'd rather it be me.
Yeah.
In that case. So, but like after just being able, because like I love those guys. I have all the respect and love for them, but just to be able to, come back together and be friends after that, but still also really relish that competition. Yeah. I think is really good. And like we were saying last week, like I can't say enough nice stuff about the overall quality of the stream, the lovely the clothing and accessories that we got, including my new favorite pair of shorts.
Oh, those are dope.
Yeah, the Space Marine symbols and everything on them.
Was that from Autumn?
Yes.
Awesome.
This is my new favorite pair of shorts, and they have pockets, which the company that made our team shorts gaslit us and did not in fact get pockets in the shorts. So Nolan and I were very upset at them.
I don't know why pockets aren't just mandatory for pants. Whoa, there goes the camera.
Yeah, because Malcolm is like, Dad, for whiles you must pay attention to me and not pay attention to these two idiots on stream. I know what it is. He wants his damn wet food. That's what it is.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yep, that's what that face says. I can see it right there.
Yeah, it
says, "Give him my goddamn wet food."
Yeah, I want to just put out an open call because prior to Nats, we had a few people ask, "Hey, I'd love to come on the podcast and stuff." So I want to put out an open call for people who have something to say, have something they want to share, as long as it's not bagging anyone on stream, because that's not what our platform is for. But yeah, if people want to come on and talk about Laserforce or their time in Laserforce, what the game means to them, give their accounts on, Nats or whatever it is, let us know. Send me a message and we'll make it happen over the next couple of months. And then we'll put 2024 to bed and look to the future for 2025, because it's going to come up on us pretty quick.
I thought this show was all about living in the past.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
A certain amount of
yeah.
There's a certain amount of that.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about today?
Well, let me throw one more thing out to you, and then I know we've been going for a little while, but just one interesting thing that kind of came up during the weekend, and we talked a little bit last week. I was asking Luke about the kind of the meta for this tournament, how it evolved, and it seemed like it was going toward a very aggressive style that most of the top teams were playing. One thing I noticed just in looking at the data from like MVP points and stuff is that this year we had 14 players who averaged 20 or more MVP points per game, which is very high relative to the past. I did some kind of just comparisons looking at other tournaments. So that was up as compared to the 2023 Nats in Auckland. We had 4 players who had a 20 or higher MVP.
That's
so
a massive difference.
Just comparison year over year, like that's huge. I also looked relative to the last Loveland tournament, which was the West Coast in 2022, because I didn't include duos because there was a bunch of mixed teams and stuff like that. But the last West Coast, we had 9 players who had 20 or more MVP. So Loveland specifically seems to be a field that is promoting some of these very high MVP games. And I mean, we basically had the conversation that it comes down to the Elam bonus. Elams are more common and they tend to be faster in Loveland field. So that's running up the MVP more. So I guess I would kind of throw out a question to you, to the whole community. Like when we're thinking about MVP and trying to compare players across fields, to what extent do we need to consider MVP to be like field dependent versus field agnostic?
So I don't put a lot
go ahead.
I don't put a lot of stock in MVP personally. Mostly because like I'm not a data driven guy for the most part. I most of my kind of thoughts are built on like vibes, I guess. Which is more why I prefer the All-Star vote versus the MVP vote. But I don't know, like yeah, for All-Star stuff it's more personal opinion. So
yes.
I think that that has good and bad qualities. MVP is just a way to kind of break down some of the stats. So maybe it is, instead of comparing MVP across the tournament scene as a whole, maybe it does need to be looked at, on a site by site basis. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my view.
Well, all I mean is it's like if somebody has what I would consider like a really good game, would be, say, like a 25-point MVP game. Like you look at that, and most of the time you see somebody got that many MVP points. You're like, that was a good game. They had a really good, strong game.
Yeah.
At time. But would that be different if you're looking in, say, Brisbane versus Auckland versus Loveland, especially if you're like breaking down where that comes from? So it's like getting a 25 MVP game in one field might not be the same as in another field. So obviously, if you have like a self-contained environment, like within the tournament, it's useful for tracking because everybody's playing the same field and the same number of games and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't know that you can really draw a lot of useful comparisons just looking at social night stats in the different sites of like, oh yeah, this person is a 24 MVP per game player. Like that puts them in the absolute top tier of all players. It's like, okay, but relative to what is always the question, I guess.
Yeah. And so maybe if you are looking at it as like as a tournament scene as a whole, maybe then it does matter more to take into consideration personal viewpoints on players.
Well, I think I think I think where we've kind of landed on this in the past, and it's always kind of been my view on it. MVP is strictly a good way to get a ballpark view of people. Owen just mentioned in chat that he prefers voted awards because there's so much that we can't quantify stats wise, and that's accurate. Like you can look at MVP and get a sense of what a player is and how they behave in game. Sure, fine, but that doesn't tell you. That it doesn't tell you what their communication is like. It doesn't tell you how they are as a teammate. It doesn't give you all those intangible things. So, people do have to be careful about looking at numbers as absolute truth. Numbers lie. Statistics lie. You can make stats tell you almost anything that you want them to. So as long as people are looking at numbers in terms of, oh, this is a guidepost, this is just a rough idea, and and all that, cool. As long as people are not trying to make MVP a be all and end all for making all of their decisions, we're probably in good shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would never want to get rid of the voted awards and only rely on the data. Like I think it's cool that we have both, honestly, but
yes,
if you're asking me one versus the other, I still feel like in general, not 100%, but in general, I think the players have a better finger on the pulse of like who really are the most worthy players to be given these particular honors. Not universally, and there's always some disagreement, but I feel like in general, looking back at past tournaments and seeing like who actually got the voted awards, like most of the time I'm like, I can't really disagree with that, even if like, well, I maybe had this player a little above them, but they were still a good choice. I never like went to a tournament and was like, oh my God, I can't believe people voted for that person. Like, what are they thinking? This person's terrible at that position. Like, I never thought that. It's always like, yeah, they're quite good at that position. Maybe they're not who I voted for, but they're probably somebody who is also worthy of recognition.
And maybe that's the drawback from bringing it to a personal opinion kind of award, is that you get personal bias, either good or bad. Like sure. I think we talked about it in the Hall of Fame pod about kind of how underrated Beans is as a player. He doesn't kind of get as much recognition as he should, or at least he never used to get recognition as he should for the quality player that he is. And so, like that might influence people when they come to vote for awards. They might be like, oh, well, he's I think someone else was better than him or whatever. But, yeah, you're never going to get it like perfect. You're not going to get a perfect system, really.
No such thing.
Yep. But I think it is good, again, to have both. And also just because in general, I think it allows more players to receive recognition and to have like a trophy to bring home.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm saying like everybody gets a trophy, but having them more widely dispersed, I think, is a good thing because
sure.
that is like something to aspire to. Because
On
sure, there are lots of
meaningful-
instances
on meaningful awards. Like we used to, like we played so many tournaments where there were like trophies for every team, and and I look at some of mine, I'm like, I've got like a 6th and a 5th place trophy. Like,
do I need that?
Yeah, was that worth spending the money on? No, you probably should have, just spent it on other individual awards. And like, there are in a lot of instances where 1 or 2 players take home like a bunch of awards, but that's good. Like,
DK this year.
Yeah, exactly. Try hard.
Slaughtermelon, I think, got more than I did too. Slaughtermelon had like 5 or 6.
But that's a good thing because like people who are the top performers in our scene should be getting awards. There's only a couple, like there's a couple that you can kind of point to, be like, ugh, that could have gone either way. So unfortunately, the person that loses out doesn't get a trophy, but for the most part, they know how they performed, and we as a scene,
but hopefully,
we see how well people perform, and those kind of performances stick in our mind and do over time change our perception of certain players. So,
and if they're a good player and they're going to keep coming back to tournaments, it may happen in a future tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard, especially I think. I mean, if you're going to a tournament where it's like you're going to be up against like Rusty and Slaughtermelon and Kodama at your position, like it's going to be really hard. But it also makes it more meaningful when you do like breakthrough. Like when you win an award, like I mean, like your All-Star award that you got in Brisbane in 2018, like that's super meaningful, right? Because look at the competition that you were up against.
Huge.
It's like, yeah.
And I think that was a competition that could have gone to several people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes,
like I mean, if like Beast or
Taipan
or or something like that got it, like you wouldn't say like, oh, that was the wrong call.
That's right.
But it's like you were, I think, a very worthy recipient of that award because you played really well all week.
Right. I appreciate it. And yeah, it does mean a lot. Like because that was one award that I was chasing for my entire playing career.
Right.
So yeah, to get one, I was stoked because I keep losing out to either Beast or Ducky or like
or Tragedy
or Trage, mostly Trage.
Yeah.
And and that's fair. Like Trage was so good for so long that of course y'all are getting awards. Yeah, I make myself awards every week just to make myself feel good. They're all made of chocolate, so I feel terrible after. But yeah.
Yeah, I think when I went back and realized the All-Star ammo that I picked up this year is like my 7th for
awesome.
Resupply over time. I thought it was 6 and then remembered, oh wait, no, Stu and I tied for All-Star in 2013.
Yeah, right.
for All-Star ammo, and there wasn't a separate trophy.
So you snap it in half.
Yeah. There wasn't a separate trophy for that in 13, I think 15 either, because that's why I don't have anything printed out that says All-Star Heavy on it from 2015, even though we're supposed to get stuff, but it never happened.
Yeah, I'm still supposed to get Know-It-All Rookie of the Year award. Did I say?
Sorry, bring that up again.
Sergeant Tucker messaged me during the week prior to the tournament, I think, or a couple of weeks prior to the tournament, and he sent me a list of all the awards, and he was like, does that all look good? And I was like, oh, Rookie of the Year. And he was like, oh, fuck. And I was like, I only know because I made the same mistake. Yeah.
Poor rookies.
Yeah, poor rookies. Yeah, I don't know. I don't put a lot of weight into MVP personally, but I like that we have those stats available, and I like that there are people that do get a lot out of those stats. Yeah, so it's good. I've never been a stats guy though, so yeah, I'm all about.
That's why you got me.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just tell me how much money I need.
Right. Anything else? MVP.
I got more, but we've been going for almost 90 minutes, so we can save some of the content for another time, because I think it probably bears out having maybe a little bit longer discussion about maybe some of the things that we could improve the next time that we have a tournament, and setting expectations for players, for site management, for potential vendors who want to sponsor anything, get involved in that. Like that stuff kind of just got thrown in last minute this year, but like probably that'll be a long conversation, but that's, I think, a topic for another day, because that definitely at least another hour of content right there.
It's something that
I'm hungry, so
yeah, you're hungry, the cat's hungry, so we should probably call it a night.
Dan's wanting his wet food. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be back during the week for some more Resupply channel content. I don't know if we've got a show next week. We'll talk about that after stream. We'll keep you in the loop. Boys, always nice to see you. I look forward to yarning with you every week. So glad we can continue to do this even after.
Hope that back goes up. I want to see you back in that arena.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's bummed me out. It's really bummed me out, but it's all right. I'm on some kick-ass muscle relaxants, apparently.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Nice.
It just made me sleepy, so not nice. But I did get some tramadol, which is nice. That's a good one. Get them lights cranking.
Oh God.
Just trim it all.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, kids. We'll see you guys during the week for more shenanigans and outs. But for this week, I have been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next time. Ka kite anō.
Than, give me some shot!
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, it must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. All these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I've been throwing daggers in my dreams. If they seem to hit their target, it's harder than it seems. 'Cause you don't know what I know. And you don't feel the way I feel. In all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I'm a well-known stranger, walking my own path. Gave up all my mysteries just to get a laugh. You keep me